Hey, man, Susan,
Hello?
good to see you all.
Yep.
Okay, so we are going to work on. We did left and right heel kick. We'll review those really quickly, but we'll go on to this next little section, and basically this next section is pretty much moves that we already know, even from the 24. So I think we can go through those fairly quickly. And get to beast head posture and the infamous tornado kick,
Always fun.
and that'll take us basically halfway through the form. Um, and then I wanted to do a little demo with you guys, but let's warm up. Let's do um, let's do a form from the beginning all the way up through the left and right heel kick. Okay. think that's as far as we went last time. Did everyone remember everything? Good. I think we should do one more, and I think Ran led us last time, so Susan, you should lead us this time. Or maybe my memory's wrong, but whatever. Susan, why don't you lead us?
Okie dokie. Make sure I've got this on. Yeah, okay, we're good. Excuse me, I'm gonna move this down a little bit more this way.
In fact, Susan, I'm going to mute myself. You'll have to say something again, but I'm going to mute myself here.
Okay. I will do that. Are we good to go? I think so.
On mute.
You're muted.
As I was saying, I want to do two things today, and I was debating inside myself whether which to do first, which to do second, but I think I've decided which to do. I'm not even sure we're going to get to the second one, which is the actual movement that I was talking about. What I want to talk about is Tai Chi, not just as a martial art, but also as a philosophical principle, because that's actually where it started. Tai Chi was Tai Chi long before Tai Chi, the martial art, was invented. And what Tai Chi is yin and yang theory. It's a whole theory. It's got a whole cosmology, etc., etc. I love it. I think it's very practical. It's very useful in the modern world. But what I wanted to talk about was one principle. There are, in Tai Chi as a martial art, there are 8 characteristics or 8 basic principles that one should embody when you practice. It's partly, yeah, sure, it's a little bit for how you look, but mainly it's a way for how you practice. So some of the principles are absolutely yin and yang, and they're about things like hard and soft. Hard is yang, soft is yin, etc. But one of the other principles is called full and empty. So hold on a second. I'm going to show you all the chart I've made up for the 8 basic principles. Okay, so here are the 8 characteristics of Chen style Tai Chi. And you'll see the Chinese writing and the Roman translations here on the left, and the English translations on the right. So what I wanted to look at was number 4. Shu Shi Yundong. Yundong means movement. Shu Shi means empty and full. Empty and full movement. So if you look at some of the others, you'll see a hard and soft movement, fast and slow movement. Those are all ways of saying yin and yang movement, but different aspects of yin and yang. So we're going to be looking at this one in blue today. The reason this is important is if you are not doing full and empty movement, you're not really doing Tai Chi. What does full and empty mean? Full, one way to express full is that's where your weight is. So my left leg is full, my right leg is empty. That's kind of the easiest way to understand it. But it's not really just gravity, it's also where your mind is and where your chi is. All right? So I could be up in a movement like this. That leg just became full, even though there was no weight on it. Right? So you need, when you practice, you have to be aware of yin and yang. That's why it's called Tai Chi as a martial art, because it takes the basic Tai Chi philosophy, which existed in China for thousands of years before Tai Chi, the martial art, was invented. It takes that philosophy and applies it to movement. It wouldn't have to be a martial art, it could be something else. But because a martial art is so practical, it either is going to work or it's not going to work. It creates a way of studying Tai Chi in a way that you can't fake. You can't. It's not just something in your head. It's something that actually has to work in the world. Right? So how do you practice full and empty? Well, a real simple way of thinking about this is you make sure you shift your weight. Right? It's not good to just do this. Right? This is not Tai Chi. Right? This is Tai Chi, moving. Right? The whole body moving. We've done this before, but if you're stand up and put your weight on both legs. Get them as close to 50-50 as you can, exactly 50-50. Now, without changing that, move one foot. You can't do it. You have to shift your weight in order to move a foot, which ought to show you this is just a very practical kind of idea, right? Now, I want to watch a little video about, it's probably a minute long, something like that. Let's just watch this video and then we'll talk about it. Sorry about the bad music, but that's just part of the little, right? There's a whole series of those things like that being done by different people. So what were you watching? Kevin, what was it?
Well, he was changing the distance he was from the guy and changing the leverage.
Yeah, he was doing that, but there was something else that's not visible. Master Zhang did this to me years and years and years ago. He he said, "Come up behind me and give me a bear hug from behind." And he said, "Okay, now lift me up." Now Zhang was not a big guy, so boom, I was able to lift him up, and then I set him down. And he said, "Now try again." I couldn't move him. I could not move him. I could not get his feet off the ground. And he said, "Okay, now try again." I lifted him up. I set him down. He said, "Now try again." No, I couldn't move him. He was doing something exactly like this guy did. Now, the guy who was doing this little thing was obviously like a magician. The thing with the cup and everything, that's just a magic act kind of thing, right? And in essence, he was using a trick that is not exclusive to Tai Chi at all. There are lots of people who can do what he did. So it's not magic, and it's not even Tai Chi. However, it is the same thing as full and empty. He was emptying himself. What are you talking about? He was emptying himself. Can anybody guess what was going on? Because that big guy, that big weightlifter guy, he truly could not move him. Couldn't move him. He was trying. What was the smaller guy doing so that the weightlifter couldn't lift him? Yes, Kevin, you may be right about some of those things, but that's not really what he was doing.
Was he lowering his chi?
Any other ideas? I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just asking if there are other ideas.
Seems like he was emptying his like torso, his shoulders, his hands, and then when he's pushing him like by those things, it's like the power just doesn't like translate to pushing him up because it's just like you're pushing something that doesn't provide resistance.
Yeah, you guys are getting close to it. When you lift someone, the reason you can lift them is they're cooperating.
Yeah.
They may not consciously understand that, but you have in every human being has two muscle systems. the red muscle system and the white muscle system. The red muscle system is what runs your biceps and your quads and all that kind of stuff. But there's another muscle system that holds your skeleton up. And for most people, almost 100% of the time, when someone touches you, your white muscle system will tense up. It's just a defensive reaction, right? What does your white muscle system do? It's lifting you up. It's what keeps you upright. Have you ever wondered what keeps you standing up? Right? There's a muscle system that is lifting you up. So when someone is going to lift you and they touch you, that system essentially goes up and you're able to lift that person with their cooperation. But it's not conscious. The guy who just did that trick learned to empty himself. What does that mean? It means he's learned about the white muscle system. He may not even know those words, right? It's very similar to what Kevin was saying. You're dropping, in Tai Chi, you might say drop your chi. You relax your white muscle system. And when you do that, you are like a sack of wet cement. It is impossible to pick someone up. You can imagine, I mean, I'm probably a lot heavier than that guy, but maybe that guy was maybe, what, 170 pounds or so? Right? Imagine you have a sack of wet cement and you're trying to pick it up and the cement is just dropping down all the time. It's impossible to pick it up. It's got no structure. It's not helping you. It's actually not doing anything except running down. But you try to lift it up and you can't do it. Right? That's what it means. One of the things it means to empty yourself. It's, how would that function in Tai Chi? I'll tell you a story and then I'm going to do a demonstration with Annie. I think I may have even told you this story before, but you'll just have to put up with me. Years and years ago, I went up to Napa to do a push hands workshop with Linda Brown and her crew of students up there. And Jim Kissel was one of the students, right? And you know Jim, he's got a good sense of humor. Right? So I called Jim out to help me do a demonstration, just the basic two-arm thing. We did that during the retreat here a couple of months ago. And we were doing that. And then Jim pulls something that there's always one guy who does this kind of stuff in a workshop, right? He's got to screw around with the teacher and see if he can do anything. So, we're going like this, and bam, suddenly he goes like that into my chest. Now, it wasn't just a hit and a retreat. He hit and he just kept pushing. So I wasn't expecting this, and I went all the way back to where I was very close to falling over. And in a situation like that, time slows down, and you have lots of time to think. So what I was thinking is, I really would prefer not to be pushed over because it's going to ruin this workshop I'm trying to teach. That's the first thing I thought. The second thing I thought was, well, what can I do about this? I mean, I'm very close to going over backwards. Is there anything that I could do that would get me out of this situation? And the answer came, relax. Relax. You just empty yourself, and as soon as I emptied myself, Jim started going backwards, and I snapped back and pushed him over backwards. All right? So it was from my point of view, it was much more successful. Later on, actually not that day, but couple of years later, we were talking and about that incident, and I said, "What was it like for you?" And he said, "I was pushing you, and suddenly you just disappeared. You weren't there anymore. So I didn't know what to do. I started going back the other way, and that's when you came back and slammed me." That's how you use it in Tai Chi. One of the ways you use it. So Annie and I want to do a little demo here. I'll show you some other ways you use it. You use it all the time. When you learn push hands, and you learn to you begin to be able to put some of the principles that your body's learning in the form. You're going to be using fullness and emptiness all the time. So Annie and I did this the other day, so we should know it well. I'm going to have Annie grab me by the arm. Look at my hand. My hand is empty. Actually, there's a little pung in my wrist, but not very much. Right? What does it feel like?
You feel relaxed, but I feel, strength in this part.
Right, but it feels relaxed,
Yeah,
right?
it feels relaxed.
Okay, now how does this feel?
Like a 2x4.
Right.
Or a 4x4.
Which direction is it going? It's going in that direction.
Yes.
Exactly. This is empty. Try to do something to it. There's nothing she can do because it has no direction. It's just there. Now I'm going to open this. This is very yin, empty. I'm going to fill it up, and my body's not going to move, but the energy in my arm is going to move in this direction. And what she should be doing is listening to my energy. And when she feels my energy move in a direction, she should help me do that. Easy. Because the other guy's doing 90%. I'm doing 90% of the work.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, wait. Her job is to be smarter than me. Not to be bigger or stronger, but to be smarter. That's why in China, this is called the smart man's martial art. All right? If you're going to be smarter, the first thing you have to develop is the ability to sense what's going on around you. So when she had her hand on me, when I'm just absolutely empty and neutral, Master Zhang used to say, "You know move, I know move. You move, I move faster." If she develops her sense of hearing, she should hear my mental intention before it even shows up in my body. And that gets her ready. That's what Zhang meant about moving faster. And as soon as I start, man, she's ready. It's not that she's stronger. It's not that she's younger. It's not that she's bigger. It's that she's smarter. And she's using her sensory capabilities to understand what's going on with the energy. Right? What happened to our camera went wonky. Let's move back a little bit. Okay.
There it is.
This camera goes wonky sometimes. So again, all right. So easy. Now I'm going to do a little more complex thing and see if she catches on. All right. I'm going to listen to her. Again. First I'm moving forward. I feel her pulling me. Now I just relax backward. Okay, when I relax backward, what should you do? Yeah. Go with the flow. Now, I'm gonna sort of guide you a little bit. Okay, stand back here a little bit where you were. Forward, and back. It's very simple. It depends on her,
Listening ability.
well, and on her training. So she now knows more than she did 2 minutes ago. And if she just trained in that, she'd get very good at this because she's a big, strong woman, right? Let's do something else. This is a little higher level. We did this the other day. This is a little higher level. When, again, grab it. When I move, let's say I'm moving like this, I'm essentially creating a line in space. So what she has to sense, it's not just the direction, but also, how can I say, the linearity of this. The line, she pulls me down that same line. Now, there are other things you can do. That's not the only thing you can do, but that's a really important thing to sense the line of someone's movement. Why? Well, because if you can move them down that line, it's the most, exactly, it's the most efficient way. If she moved me sideways, that is possible to do, but when she moves me at that vector, she's going to lose a lot of her efficiency of it, right? So, boom, right. Now, it's also possible to do it the other way. So she's gonna, I'm not really gonna move, I'm gonna tense up my arm, I'm gonna fill my arm, and the motion's gonna be going this way, but I'm not gonna move my body, so I'm just gonna tense. Now, that's gonna create a line. Now, she's pulling me a little bit, but suppose she pushed me. Now, that's sideways. Push me down that line. Exactly. Backward. She's instead of pulling me along the line, she's pushing me backwards along the line. Now, suppose I was reaching out at her. So this is, move around here a little bit. Right? This is much more threatening. When someone reaches out at you like this. Yes, exactly. Just move it. Now, she did that really well. So she moved my arm right back down the line, right? And she does this all the time. The first time she does something, she does it perfectly. And she did the second time, she did it perfectly too, right? Now she'll start thinking about it, and that'll screw it up. She don't want to think about it.
Don't think.
Don't think, just do. This can get very. Can be a very high level art, and yet it's also one of the basic arts of Tai Chi. So again, she grabs my hand. Now, there's this line, I push down that line, and now she did this before without even thinking about it. It's not just that you're pushing the arm, it's that you push the Dan Chen, and even that you push the person from the bottom of their feet. Push, push, boom. If they've tensed up, she can use that tension, that fullness in me, she can use that to beat me above the head and shoulders. What should I do? Now, most people that are not trained will not do this, right? Because, I reach out, she grabs and starts pushing, I'm probably going to tense up. And when I tense up, I'm just going to become a sitting duck. But what I should do is this.
Disappear.
Just relax. Empty yourself. It's so simple. Now, I say it's so simple, but when the guy you're wrestling with is 250 pounds, it doesn't feel that simple, right? So you have to train in this. You train and train and train and train so that when you are surprised by something, or when you feel like, as Master Zhang used to say, big men come, you're not afraid. Right? In other words, you become used to, thank you, hon, you become used to dealing with situations that are a little uncomfortable or a little surprising. And this is one of the major tools that you've got in your toolbox. So how do you practice it? Well, there's lots of ways to practice. One of the best ways to practice is doing push hands, but you can practice it when you do the form. Because if you watch the form, it's always the same thing. Full and empty, full and empty, full and empty. Yin and yang, yin and yang. Sometimes one side of the body is full and the other side is empty. Sometimes it's the whole body is full and then the whole body empties. And this is one of the major reasons why you want to do the form slowly. Slower than I led it this morning, right? I led it pretty quick, but that's because I've been doing this for 30 years, right? When you practice, practice slowly. So maybe just practice the first section of the form, the first 6 moves, and pay attention to full and empty. When is each foot full and when is each foot empty? When is the right side full? When is the right side empty? And just pay attention. And the form itself will begin to teach you. It's all structured into the form itself. So slow down. Which side's full? Which side's empty? Well, this is full. This is pretty empty. But now, which side is full? This side. It's constantly changing and shifting. And if you pay attention to that, you will unlock one of the treasures of Tai Chi. And the form itself will begin to teach you what to do. And begin to get that feeling of fullness and emptiness in your body. When, Annie, come back a minute, will you? I don't care, come back. She claims she's cooking. Oh, this won't take long. Put your hands on my upper arms, all right? And she's gonna begin to push. Right? That's so simple. What are you doing? It's the simplest thing in the world. Right? I'll do it on the other side. So let's switch her feet. She begins to push, right? So I'm up here. I just empty this side of my body. And she's going to start moving in that direction anyway, just because she's following, and I fill this side of the body. It's simple. It's exactly what we just did in this motion. Thank you. It's very useful. All right? Someone comes in and pushes. Relax. Expand. And then get your feet and your legs in it. Very simple. Questions? All right, let's pick it up again tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll work on new moves, right? But when you're practicing, think about this. The right side of the body, the left side of the body, the upper body, the lower body, the inner body, the outer body, that can all be played off each other. Right? And the way to learn to do that is one yang, one yin. The way to learn to do that is to watch yourself in the form. And let the form, you pay attention to that, the form itself will start to teach you. I'll tell you what, because I can't teach you that. Seriously, I can't teach you that. You have to teach yourself that. And the way to do it is your teacher should tell you about this and then pay attention. Okay, guys, we'll see you tomorrow.